Good morning, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your morning flash update for this all-important Fed Day. Yep, Federal Reserve's going to give us their decision, and it is Wednesday, the 14th of June, 2023, 8:20 a.m. Central Time. So where are we on the markets? I'm not sure any of it matters until you get to that point where in 1 o'clock statement, the 1:30 press conference, be aware of the yin-yang impact. We do something, we get the press conference, but you got to take into account the accounts. Press conference begins 1:30, ends at 2:30. The statement comes out at 1. What time is that in Europe, and what time is it in Asia? In Asia, people are what? Well, they're not even up yet, all right? They've left the offices, they're out to dinner in Europe, so we get what I call this impact that sometimes you got to wait for it to go around the world to see what you have come the next morning, which is Thursday. That's what I'm always saying, that's what I preach, and that's how I look at it. So, right now, going in, it's almost a 96% probability, according to the CME Fed Watch page, that you're going to get the Fed to skip, pause, whichever word you're comfortable with. I'm against it. I think they should go the quarter point. I don't think you've beaten inflation, and I don't think you've capped it in any manner yet, so to speak, where you can guarantee me that the trajectory is going to stay down. I do see the headline number. I understand that's a big number. You've gone from 9 to 4%, but it's the headline number. Then we get to today's number, and maybe we should just go there for the PPI. First, we'll go to the mortgages. All the indices saw a big jump, and that's with interest rates sort of stable, but at high rates. You know, you're still just under 7% on a traditional 30-year fixed. When we come to the PPI, they expected it down an eighth. They got it down a tenth. They got it down 0.2. That's good. They expected ex-food and energy up 0.2. They got it up 0.2. Consumption fell 0.4. That's probably the best part of all that. They didn't do anything with the April number. We get the statement, as you know, at 1 o'clock, and then at 1:30, everything goes from there. And we get the 9:30 report on the EIA stocks as to what we're going to look like in energy. Now, the Biden administration did come out over the past 24 hours and state that they're going to buy 12 million barrels of oil for the strategic reserve before the end of the year. Of course, as soon as they said that, oil prices went back up over that $70 level, and that's the problem with it. All right. So how do you trade a day like today? From my perspective, you don't. You've either made your moves, you've taken your money out of the market, you've done whatever you're going to do. Now you quietly sit back. From my perspective, you pick up the pieces. What if the Fed goes with the quarter point hike? The market is not expecting that. That'll be one reaction. Next, let's assume that they go to the skip. How hawkish or how dovish does the Fed chair say things? He's going to answer a bunch of questions. People are going to be all over him on this. Where are we? Then, if you get my full research report, you know what I did. I pointed out to you what goes on the moment you get a pause, which is what they're widely expecting today, and then where the first cut in rates come and where the recession steps in after that. Very important. For those of you that got it, print it out, put it on your desktop, keep it there. It's really important. Now, do I expect a deep recession? No. Do you have to have a recession? Well, history says you will get one. The question is how deep it is, and we will see where it all goes. Does that mean that the stock market has to fall apart? Most certainly not. Does it typically fall, though, when the Fed cuts rates? Oh, yeah. And you'd say, well, why? You're making the rate cheaper. The reason they're cutting them is you've slowed the economy too much. And it's like that giant tanker at sea. In order to get it into the dock miles out, you got to start slowing it down, turning it, figuring out the currents, where's your drift rates. There's so much to do. Well, that's how an economy like ours is, and that's why the Fed is widely expected, I'm making that clear, widely expected that they're going to make that first pause to get the bearing of it. The reason that they're using the word skip is they're not sure that they don't have to go up in rates again. We had widespread rain in key corn areas. You can see how the market is down tonight. You're in that type of market. Now, you're making back what you lost yesterday in bonds and notes in early trade. I did not get yesterday's trade of breaking bonds and notes. Why? Normally, if you're going to go into that pause, you should take pressure off these markets. Was it a one-day of an event, and today you're making that up? I wish I could tell you. I'm not exactly sure. What I can tell you is I'm committing myself to the bear side of the dollar if the Fed goes into the skip pause. That's where I'm at on that. So how do you get up with what's going to happen today? How do you keep up with everything? Well, we're going to be writing about it heavily, and it's going to affect everything. Whatever they do is going to affect the energy markets because things are priced in dollars. What does the dollar do? Obviously, you're going to be looking at what interest rates do, what the stock indices do. Very, very important. Currencies, one of my favorite markets. Got to be keeping up with what that's going to do. I don't think it means that much for the grain markets. I think the grain markets are going to be all about weather right now, and the same with the meat markets because that's what they eat. But the soft commodities will be looking at El Nino, and they're going to look at what the dollar does. And, of course, at Linn, we put out a lot of special reports. How do you get these for a couple-week period if you're not with us? It's free. That's first. All you do is you move your cursor right up here. You'll see an icon. Give it a click. You can go to our website at iraepstein.com. Go to free offers. You'll see everything we have there, including all the free courses, everything else that we have. So I will see you this evening. We will talk about it. For those of you that are in Australia, I will be in your face, if you will, first thing on Thursday morning. Remember the time differences. I'll be doing the show out of Chicago at 5:30 p.m. And that's Central Time. You take the time, and I'm sure I'll be asked lots of questions about what the Fed did and where things go from there. I'm Ira Epstein. I'll see you in Sydney and Melbourne. You take care.